What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish, talking Westgate Super Contest, talking lines previews in the NFL. Craig, coming off a nice one here. We went 1-4 back in week 11. It was our worst week ever in the history of us doing this Westgate Super Contest. But we come back like champs the following week and immediately negate that loss.
Yeah, I gotta say it was not a good feeling going 1-4 a couple of weeks ago, but we are really good at bouncing back after having a tough week. And it's not that we do anything differently, but we do bounce back. Now, we did make a very big change last week on Saturday night prior to releasing the picks. We did discuss it here on the live stream, but this is a very interesting lesson to learn, I think, moving forward for the rest of the college and pro football season. Look, I'm all about getting ahead of the lines. Howard and I have been doing this now for years, and we like to give you our early leans and early in the week. But we're at the point of bonkerness. Is that even a word? And banananess
We,
of the
we,
NFL.
we can go for it, though. I like it.
It is really hard to bet this early in the week. I gotta say, like predicting what can happen, and that's kind of the deficit that the Super Contest has. I was shocked that in the Super Contest, where we pick 5 games against the spread every week, the lines are now locked. Okay, which means that whatever the point spreads are as of 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, those are the lines that you use for your picks in the Super Contest on Sunday. So for those of you who are watching this for the first time, that's the way that it works. Now, what Howard and I do is we come on Wednesday, we talk about the lines, we go through some early leans, and then throughout the week we start talking about which way we're going to go. And we had our 5 picks set Saturday afternoon. Well, Saturday night we got the word, like everybody else did, that the Broncos were going to have no quarterback essentially. And I called Howard, we talked about it, and we decided to pivot off the Eagles and instead take the Saints, which, because of the Super Contest line, ended up reversing us and giving us a win. And look, the contest is different than anybody who's betting on Sundays. I get it, and that's important. But the reason why I said I was shocked is I was shocked, Howard, that the Saints were not the most picked team. And I'm not trying to pat you on the back or pat me on the back, but and again, look at today. The Ravens ended up covering against the Steelers with, very luckily, honestly, in the end. But I don't know how everybody did not take the Saints in that game. The Saints were -6 and -17 on Sunday. If you're getting 14 points of value or 10 points of value or 6 points of value going into a game, it doesn't even matter who the two teams are. You have to make that bet. And we did. And fortunately, we came out on top. So you're right, 4-1, Howard, on the week.
Nothing better than that. Well, 5-0, I guess. But you know what? I'm not going to be greedy on that. What did we? Oh, it was the Cleveland game. We got hosed on that garbage.
Mm-hmm.
We got lucky with the Chargers, right?
Yes.
Because the Chargers ran the ball and screwed up their clock management
at the
like
end.
A bunch of idiots.
Really bad. Yeah.
Anthony Lynn, good job.
Did you see what happened on that last play? Not the play that Herbert tried to run into the end zone with no time left when they had no timeouts. The play after that when he spiked the ball, they ran the field goal unit out and then ran the field goal unit back like 5 seconds left. They had no play call for the final play.
It was unbelievable. It was awful. It was just terrible clock management by Anthony Lynn. So we lucked out with that one there, but we got screwed on that roughing the passer call on Olivier Vernon, which extended everything for the Jaguars, and that was the one game that we did lose last week. You go to wageralarm.com. You can take a look at the ticket. I think I also posted it on Twitter this past week as well. Super excited about that bounce back, and now what we got to do now is we got to keep that momentum going. Now we can talk leans and stuff like that as we look at the lines. But yeah, I mean, we just talked about this before the live stream even started. Our picks are not going in until the very last possible minute on Saturdays just because of what we just got there. Like, I mean, I think it was probably like 8 o'clock Eastern was when we got the news on Saturday, or maybe it was a little earlier than that. Maybe it was about 6 or 7 o'clock when that happened. So
yeah, it was really close to when we were on the air. I do want to mention, sometimes our picks are lucky and sometimes they are good. And I think that we're super transparent when it comes to that. As Howard said, look, the Bills were the right pick, but we could have easily lost that game in the back door. The Titans was a really good pick. That was one of the best picks I think that we've had all year. That was like a start to finish underdog that was not particularly close. A lot of people thought Indianapolis would win that game. Of course, Indianapolis won a couple of weeks ago. So, that was one of my favorites of the year. Actually, I thought that was.
I think what I love about that also is because we hit on that Thursday night with the Colts.
That's true.
So we hit with the Colts on that Thursday night against the Titans, and then came right back. And that's what you have to do. Like you have to turn around. Like we've got an interesting game on the slate for this week, and that's Atlanta against New Orleans. We saw what happened with Atlanta and New Orleans. Then Atlanta goes out and they destroy the Raiders this past week. And now here we are again. It's Saints against the Falcons again, and Falcons are a 3-point underdog at home. And so I mean, to sit there and decide, which way, I don't have a lean on this one here. Okay. I think a lot of people are going to lean the Falcons because everybody just hates Taysom Hill and thinks that he takes Alvin Kamara out of the equation.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can trust the Falcons either at this point.
Yeah, and I think that, look, we'll go over these games one by one. We could start there. This is a perfect example of what you just talked about, week-to-week league, right? Like, if you really believe what you've seen from the Falcons, you're totally missing the point in the NFL. Like the Raiders just did not show up to that game at Atlanta. Like they just got manhandled. And I don't think the Falcons will win that big in any game over the next 2 years. I'm not saying that they can't beat the Saints at all, but you put the blinders on when it comes to the next week. You have to do that when you're betting on the NFL. You can't just go back to the previous week and say it's an indication of the next week. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule. Philadelphia has pretty much shown who they are all season long. The Bears, the last month, have shown who they are all season long. The Rams have not. The Rams, they're good 1 week, 2 weeks in a row. All of a sudden, they lose to San Francisco. So you just got to look at the line, see what it's telling you, and then make the best possible educated decision you can. And that's kind of what's gotten us, back well above 500 for the season. So, okay, so let's go in a little bit here. And all the lines are more or less the same, by the way. I think the odds makers are scared to change anything, honestly, until we get later in the week. But we have no Thursday night game. So the Bears are playing the Lions, Howard, and the Bears are -3 at home. My gosh, the Bears as a favorite. And then either that or are we going to blind do the best bet in the world and just back the new coach of the Lions, whoever it is? Is that what we're going to do?
We're at, 65% of the time right now.
I think we got
a team. And for those of you, if you are just joining us, Craig and I have done this now for a couple of seasons. We did it twice already this year, and we pretty much did it blindly this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So 65% of the time when a team fires its head coach mid-season, the game after, they either win outright or they at least give you a cover.
Right. That percentage is the cover percentage, not the win percentage. That's important to note because there's not always wins. And I'm not a huge fan of blind betting, but for whatever reason, it's and I talked about this a few weeks ago when it was Houston, I think, or when it was O'Brien, I believe, was let go, and Houston did cover. I don't think they won; they covered. Oh. The team, for whatever reason, has this extra motivation that they want to show the new coach and the new people who are in charge and the owner that, hey, look, this guy was holding me back, and like each individual player feels that, and I want to show that it was about him and it wasn't about us. And it lasts 1 week. That's usually it after 1 week because, look, players get up for every game. They should. But we're at the stage of the season where it's like a temporary boost. So my early lean would be Lions. I would tell you that if Swift and Golladay were back for this game, I don't think I'd have any hesitation at all in taking
me neither. And I'm more, for me, it's more about Swift than it is about Golladay, to be honest. I think that if Swift plays in this game, I think I think the Lions can win this game outright, despite how good that Chicago Bears defense is. I think that having that secure ground game at least opens it up for play action and lets them take advantage of the passing attack after that. Without Swift, if you're relying on Kerryon Johnson, Adrian Peterson, I'm out on that. But I'll lean Lions here as well.
Yeah, extra few days, by the way, for Lions to prepare. Khalil Mack didn't practice today. I mean, these are all things that are small factors, but have to be built in when we're trying to make our pick for this. And the other thing you have to ask yourself: should the Bears be 3-point favorites over anybody, literally in the NFL?
Mitch Trubisky season.
It's horrible. So, kind of feel the same way. Dog side here also. Miami against Cincinnati. I liked Cincinnati last week too. It's more or less the same story for me with Miami and the Giants. Good team, not great. Winning team, not a winning team that's going to cover. I thought Cincinnati played competitive. Who are the Dolphins to be laying 11.5 points in an NFL game? I'm just not sure of that. So my early lean would be Cincinnati, Howard, on this
one. Easily. I'm in the same boat. I saw that line. I was like, really? 11.5? I mean, we don't like giving up double digits anyway, as far as, laying points go.
Right.
So more than happy to jump on that Bengals bandwagon. First home dog here, we got the Texans, 3.5-point underdogs to the Colts. Texans, they lose Will Fuller, Peds. Yeah. They lose Bradley Roby, who's their best corner in a lousy secondary anyway. But I mean, again, I have a hard time backing the Colts offensively speaking. Yeah. Like defensively, we'll have to see if they get everybody back who is dealing with COVID or injuries. But man, I don't like this game at all. I would probably, if I had to lean, I might lean Texans just to have the points. But this might be a straight pass for me.
Yeah, I would actually maybe lean the other side just because it feels like it's pulling me to Houston. And this is just one of those situations where I don't think Houston's good. I think the Colts have been a little overrated all season. And I would just be scared that this would be a big defensive Colts game. Like all of a sudden the defense just shows up in this game and it's a low-scoring one, 21-7 or something like that. But I'm with you. I at least at this point of the week, I don't have a strong feeling on it because I don't feel like I really know either team that well.
Yeah, listen, if the Colts get a bunch of these defensive guys back, I can back the Colts on that side as well, but I don't like it. How about the next one? Vikings at home laying 10 to the Jaguars. The Vikings against Dallas a couple of weeks ago, that was like you were just blown away by that. They get lucky and they come back this past week, right, with a last-second touchdown, Cousins to Beebe.
Yeah.
How are they? Like, I get that the Jags are bad. Yeah. I get that Mike Glennon is bad. But, I mean, they even played tough against Cleveland in that game. And, yeah, they got that extra opportunity for that backdoor cover.
Sure.
And they came through. I just don't like Minnesota's defense to have to withstand James Robinson, and then maybe even Mike Glennon gets lucky on a couple of throws. I mean, I might lean Jags here and take the 10.
Yeah, and it's interesting, this game, because what you just brought up, I think, is the point. A lot of people don't watch the games. And who would have watched Cleveland-Jacksonville last week? If you didn't watch and you saw the final score, you would have said that, wow, the Jaguars almost won. When we both know, because we had Cleveland, in reality, I mean, honestly, Cleveland outplayed them from the beginning. The second half started all the way through the end, and they couldn't stop Chubb at all. And if Cook is healthy, I don't think they're going to stop him at all either. But you're right. This line isn't 7, it's 10. And all it will require is a backdoor cover to really get in there. But I do worry that if Jacksonville can't stop the running game at all, then is that going to be the same recipe? And then some terrible call at the end of the game won't happen. You wouldn't think back-to-back weeks. So this is another game that I agree with you. I don't think Minnesota deserves to be 10 over anyone, but the Jaguars can't stop the run, and that worries me, grinding out the game at the end.
Can understand that. Can definitely understand that. Next game on the slate, Raiders visiting the Jets. Raiders are an 8.5-point favorite. I mean, even after, could you imagine if the Raiders actually beat the Falcons, what the spread would be in this game?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Look, the Raiders last year, they were great up until this point. They went 1-5 down the stretch. They looked like that team of last year, this past week against Atlanta. We know the Jets are not scoring more than 10 points probably in this game, but I don't know what happened to the Raiders offense. Jacobs does not look nearly as good as he did last year. Their offensive line wasn't blocking well. Carr threw like a very easy interception. This is back-to-back West to East Coast trips for the Raiders. Did they stay on the East Coast? I think I'll have to look at that before we make that final decision. I'm assuming they did. I mean, would they fly back and forth like that? I don't know. But another bad spot for the Raiders, honestly, in this game. I don't like the Jets at all, Howard, but got to call it what it is. Like, playing two West to East Coast back-to-back weeks is usually non-covers and losses. So...
Yeah, well, the Rams did it. The Rams, they came out to Miami and they ended up getting beaten up there. Then they flew back home. Then they flew back to get Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning that one.
All right, so there you go. All right, we hit on Saints Falcons. You never know.
All right, okay.
Titans Browns. Titans now all of a sudden look much better. Go figure that. 3 weeks ago, they're like, done. Titans are done. Now all of a sudden, they look good again. Okay. Browns getting 5.5 points. I suppose with this game, the one concern you would have backing Cleveland is tell me what the score is in the third quarter, and I'll tell you if they have a chance to cover it. I can say any other team can cover in the NFL. If the Browns are down 10 in the third, I do not see them coming back. This is they need to be up. It needs to be close. I don't know. I'm not feeling either side, to be honest with you, because I still don't love Tennessee as a huge favorite over anyone. And this is pretty big, 5.5.
It is, and it's going to come down to Henry versus Chubb, and which team's passing attack has more success, because they're both going to run heavy early. They're both going to hope that it opens up the play action for them in the second half.
Sure.
At that point there, then I would probably lean Tennessee, only because, if they get the 7-point lead, then they lean on that and they get, and they just run Henry over and over again. But I mean, I just have more faith in Ryan Tannehill. But I can't believe I'm actually these words are coming out of my mouth. But I've got more faith in Tannehill than I do in Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you're right. Baker Mayfield did not look good in that game at all. They won in spite of him. So, I mean, he overthrew Hooper, I believe, in the back of the end zone once, and they don't have Beckham, obviously. So it's all about their running game. And if they're down, they're in trouble. There's no doubt. They're in very big trouble here. So if Tennessee does what they did to Indianapolis, Indy was able to come back a little bit and just keep scoring. It wasn't close, but I don't think Cleveland can do that. Okay, the Giants, best team against the spread, basically, more or less all season. But now it appears Daniel Jones is out, I believe, and they'll go on the road to Seattle, getting 10 with Colt McCoy, though.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like can't lay the 10, but I would love to. Listen, if Jones was playing in this and they were getting 8.5, I think I would take the Giants. But Colt McCoy, really? I mean, can he keep it close? Can they grind out a cover?
I don't, and see, that's the thing, you look at, I feel like they can, Pete Carroll and Schottenheimer have gone back to Pete Carroll's old desire to run the football heavy. And he's got Carson, who just came back, and he's got Carlos Hyde, who's now healthy again. And we're seeing a lot of that, and Russell Wilson's throws have been down, but I mean, the Giants defense is definitely improving. I feel like they're going to have to turn to Russell Wilson in this one. If they keep running the ball, then the Giants, could try and grind it out. But, I mean, if it's Colt McCoy, who's your best asset on offense then becomes Wayne Gallman. And Seattle picked up Carlos Dunlap in a deal, and that has dramatically improved Seattle's run defense. So, I mean, if I'm leaning here, I'm leaning Seattle, because I just think that I just don't think Colt McCoy can work any kind of magic, even as bad as Seattle's secondary has been.
Okay. Rams at the Cardinals. Rams are laying 3 points. Rams played pretty poorly against the 49ers. but I feel like it's really starting to all go downhill for the Cardinals, Howard. I really do. I think that, and maybe Murray is hurt. I'm not really sure. As we've talked about, and we'll talk about coming up with Patriots Chargers too. Cardinals last 4 games in a row down to the final possession, win or loss. So they're getting points here. You would say, oh, well, if the same thing happens against the Rams, why wouldn't you take the Cardinals?
Right.
I'm not saying they're going to lose every game the rest of the season, Howard, but I got to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. They're just not playing well. They got the Hail Mary. Is that the only win they've had in the last month?
Yeah, in the last few weeks, it is.
Yeah, so I would lean Rams. I would lean Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't back the Cardinals. They just, I mean, they're an exciting team and they have fun players and nice players, but.
Right, but Kyler Murray, I mean, he hasn't been the same since he hurt his shoulder. He doesn't run as much because he's clearly afraid to take a shot also, from a defender. So I have a hard time leaning with the Cardinals either in this one. So
yeah,
I
think the Rams could be a pick.
Jared Goff. Packers hosting the Eagles. They are 8.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Packers are nothing, right? I mean, is there anything else to say? We're not taking the Eagles.
I can't take the Eagles.
Even with Jalen Hurts, no way. I'm not doing that.
Definitely not. Which reminds me, I love those Jalen Hurts texts I get on Sundays.
I'm done. I don't need to make my case against Wentz anymore. I did it enough. Go back and watch 4 weeks ago. I proved my point on that one. Patriots Chargers. Really? Like, I have no idea on this one.
And it's a pick'em.
I literally have no. Like, I'm never taking the Chargers, so it's just about if we're taking the Patriots or not. It's really what it is.
Oh man, I mean, it's if you want to, you got to give the edge to the Patriots. I think strictly because of coaching.
Absolutely, it would be Patriots or nothing. I am not taking the Chargers.
All right, okay. Sunday night game: Chiefs hosting the Broncos. It is a 2-touchdown spread.
Wow.
That's again, there you go. That's another tough one. Like, I almost want to lean Broncos here only because it's 14 points, and that's crazy. You're getting the quarterback back. It's not like Kendall Hinton is playing QB for them. They are going to have Drew Lock over there. And listen, I mean, Fangio has seen enough of the Chiefs and enough of Andy Reid's offense that he can scheme against it. I don't love it, but 14, dude. 14's a lot, right?
Yeah, I don't know about going against the Chiefs. I think it'd just be a no play for me. I think that wherever Denver is at home the next week, I think we'll back them. But I don't know. On the road, it's just, the other thing that really bothered me in that last game, it feels like, I hate to say this about NFL, didn't it feel like they quit, man? Like when Murray was just running up the middle for like 40 yards, 30-yard chunks.
Yeah.
It didn't look good for me, man. And I don't like to see that because that tells me, Chiefs put 50 up or 60 up or something crazy. Like, I don't know. I'm a little worried Denver's packed it in a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, did they pack it in last week because they were playing without a QB, or did they, or are they packing it in for the season? Like, that to me, that's the thing for me. I mean, I feel like, you would have seen a different Broncos team had you actually had somebody who could play quarterback. You could put John Elway in there, for crying out loud.
That's true. All right, so we have 2 Monday night games and a Tuesday night game. Now, you've been the Bills whisperer pretty much all year, so I don't think that we've lost with the Bills yet or on or against. They'll play the 49ers, and there's no home team here. The game is in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that probably I would guess the Bills are a 2.5-point favorite. I would guess that if the game was in San Francisco, it may be 1 or a pick'em. But neutral site, I mean, I don't know that it really should factor in all that much. There's no fans anyway in San Francisco, regardless of that. And I kind of feel like the 49ers were really even lucky to win that game after they just gave that game away. I don't know if you watched that in that second half of that game. It was ugly. So don't have a lean here. What is your thought on Buffalo this week?
I mean, I look at this and I kind of want to lean 49ers getting the points. I don't love what they've got, but I mean, You've got Nick Mullins, and you've got Raheem Mostert is back now. Now you've got Deebo Samuel, who's healthy and grinding. They're supposed to get Brandon Ayuk back. They're getting all of these weapons back on offense, and the Bills' defense has not been all that strong either. Here's another team that doesn't travel well across country, and we've seen Josh Allen put up those stinker games where you think, he's an automatic, like, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, and
right.
they're gonna do it. I feel like this is, one of those games where I might lean the Niners here and take the points. I feel like it could be like a 1-point game that just comes down to like Robbie Gould kicking a field goal.
Sure. All right. Well, we'll have to make decisions on that game as well as Steelers, Washington. We saw
Washington.
You definitely like Washington here, huh? Okay.
100%.
All right, so Washington it is. Plus,
listen, the Steelers have been so good to us.
I know.
Did you
that's why I'm
watch that
scared.
game today?
No, you see, the thing is, I got to be transparent. I did not see the first half. I saw the Steelers. So here's my question: Steelers were on the 1 at one point. Is that correct? And didn't get it, or no?
Yeah, they were down there in the 1.
Okay, so 9 times out of 10, that's a touchdown, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll give them 7 points that they didn't have. So I would ask you, beyond that, were there any points that the Steelers left on the field? I'm just asking, honestly asking, because I only
did the
saw
Steelers? No, but the Ravens did. The Ravens also left. They got stymied there. They could have kicked another field goal.
Okay.
They got screwed at the very end. At the very end of the first half. Again, here you go. Poor clock management. Harbaugh ran the ball. Clock started ticking away. The Steelers were just kind of laying there. The refs did not call a delay of game. I think the Ravens, they should have had a touchdown there at the end of the half. They came away with 0 points.
Okay.
So I think both teams left a touchdown on the table.
Gotcha. I was covering baseball stuff today, a lot of non-tender stuff. So, yeah. So then it offset. I just hate going against Pittsburgh. I think they're so much better than Washington, and I don't want to overreact to last Thursday. But we'll Saturday night we'll look closer, and then I just don't think, regardless of the scenario, we can get involved in a Tuesday night game here. I just don't think we can. It's so far out when we have to make that pick on Saturday. We're taking a huge shot, and even with knowing who's going to be there and who's not, let's say we take Dallas, and then all of a sudden we find out that they're back to DiNucci again or something crazy like that with COVID. So, but anyway, from a spread perspective, Ravens are minus 9.5 against Dallas in the contest. You know that it's Dallas taxes coming, so this line's going to be what, 8, 7 by the time they kick off Tuesday?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be that. So if you want to take Dallas now, you'll get ahead of it. How many games does Dallas look good in this season? The answer is 1. I mean, it is bleeping December. They've looked good in 1 game all year long, and because of that, they made them a favorite on Thanksgiving, and then they got blown out again. So I certainly don't like Dallas, but I'm not going to sit here now or maybe even on Saturday, Howard, and back Baltimore, not knowing their situation. So hard pass Tuesday night.
Hard pass on Tuesday. I'm with you. All right. Well, we got a couple of days to sort all of this out. Craig and I will be on Sports Grid on Friday. You don't want to miss that episode. We will give you our further leans and take a look at what we've got. We'll compare it to any kind of line movement that we might see at other books. And then, of course, here on Saturday, Wager Alarm live stream, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Craig and I will make our picks and then submit them. So lots going on there.
Yeah. Also, we're going to do, like we always do, our bowl game live stream coming up in 2 weeks from Friday. Now, another game got canceled today, the Las Vegas Bowl. So it's down to 34 bowls. The estimation from at least the people that I follow in wagering and college football think the number is going to be probably 30. So instead of 43, it's going to be about 30 games, but that may be even a little bit optimistic. So we'll still do it for you guys, and we'll have that for you 2 weeks from Friday. We'll go through every single game.
Beautiful. All right. Well, there you go. Thanks so much to everybody out there for tuning in. Big thanks to Matt Sells, our producer today. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. Thanks for watching the Wager Alarm live stream. We'll catch you next time.